Hey everyone, this is Austin Schur here with We Write About Music, and today I am speaking with Todd Siff. He has a brand new single out. It's called Keep Dreaming, and I'm super excited to talk to him all about it. Todd, I want to thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to be here. How are you doing? What's going on?
I'm doing great, man. Thanks for having me, Austin. Appreciate it.
You're very welcome. Yeah, good music deserves to be talked about, and the song is fantastic from start to finish. Um, I appreciate you sending it to me before the release. For anyone that's listening or watching, we're talking about this before the song is out. By the time it is out, it'll be out for the world to enjoy.
Absolutely.
Um, I want to get straight into it here. I find this song to be very optimistic, and obviously, I think that comes off in the title, to keep
Sure.
dreaming, but also just in your words. So, I guess what necessarily influenced this, or what inspired you writing about it?
Absolutely. So, Keep Dreaming is the not only the name of the single, but it's also the name of the album.
Yeah,
And I think for me in my own life, I've had this consistent mantra to myself, which is to keep dreaming and pushing further for
yeah,
my own life and for those that I love and for those that I care about. I'm also a teacher and
right.
I teach theater and I teach music at the college level. And for me, the best thing that we can do with the arts is to encourage others to find their passion for it and to find their joy in it. And I think that message comes from who I am as a person,
Yeah.
just wanting everyone in their own way to find their dreams, to complete what they have in their heart, their message in their heart, to find that and to try to achieve that in the world. And I think if we all did that, we
Yeah.
might be in a better world altogether.
I could not agree more. And I think it doesn't matter what kind of teacher you are, whether it's elementary, middle, high school, or college in your case, it's like the more that you reinforce that message for anyone to listen to it, the fact that you might actually be getting through to people to create, put the good vibes out there and just
Yeah,
continue to like do what you want to do. I think not a lot of people have a creative outlet, whether it
absolutely.
be, yeah, music or writing or making movies or whatever it is. And
Yeah,
so, yeah, it doesn't just need to be music in this case.
absolutely. In fact, right now, as I'm in a theater right now at
Awesome.
my job. Right now, outside, they're using my office to film a short film, my
No
students.
way. Okay.
I've been teaching and acting for the camera class. That's my background as well as in acting and theater, and so and film. So it's been a lot of fun just to inspire people around us to create. I think
Yeah.
a lot of what we're meant to do as humans is to create with each other and collaborate with each other and to make art together.
Yeah. It
Sometimes we
builds a
get
community. It's
and to
great.
build community. That's really what this is about. That's what my music is about. A lot of my live performance includes singing from the audience.
Sure.
I often teach a couple of harmony parts, and we have harmonies that go in the audience. And I try to
That's
make my
awesome.
shows about us singing together and being together, present in this moment. I want to add to the lyric content of the song
Right.
"Keep Dreaming." You know, the verses are actually about depression and are about um, acknowledging that me personally in the song, it comes from the I perspective, my own perspective, which is I've been down. I've had depression. I've dealt with it. I've
Yeah.
dealt with anxiety. I've dealt with these things as we all have in our own way. And that mantra to keep pushing onward, to keep dreaming, to keep going, that has been really influential for me. I know it also collaborates and works with my love for Zen Buddhism as well.
Sweet.
And so that I think it comes from that.
Love it. Listen, it's a multifaceted approach when it comes to the lyrics, but I even find that instrumentally, it's a very calming song. You know what I'm
Awesome.
saying? I think maybe nowadays in music, people they listen to music for the way that it makes them feel, and they don't really want to spend the extra 5% of their energy to understand what the song's about. But I find that even in the production and the mixing, nothing is really overpowering each other. You
Awesome.
kind of get the opportunity to listen to what you're saying because your vocals are up front, but then the instrumentation does its thing and really creates a specific mood, which is such a nice thing as well. And I want to know from your perspective in terms of like composition, production, and instrumentation, how do you go about that? How do you go about that in terms of this is what the song's about, and I kind of want the song to sound similar?
Totally. Yeah. So this track and the whole album were produced at Starlight Sound in Lake City, Florida,
Sweet.
with my friend and great collaborator Matt Johns. And Matt, luckily for this project and for every other project he works on, is a incredibly talented multi-instrumentalist as
Yeah.
well as producer. So he added the saxophone on this
Yeah,
track,
so nice.
which is so nice. And it's on a few of the other tracks in the album as
Cool.
well. And he also laid down the electric guitar, the lead electric guitar part on the album too, and specifically on Keep Dreaming. But I always start with an intention of um, having a couple of instruments as the base of the song. So for this, it would be acoustic guitar, and then it's the Fender Rhodes that's kind of bouncing
Yeah, man.
throughout this tune. I'm obsessed with the Fender Rhodes. Who isn't,
Sure.
right? Um, so we had one of those in the studio, and so those two instruments really help give the structure of the
Yeah.
song. And then Matt and I just played, and we experimented, and we found different sounds in the studio that we felt like would fit. And both of us have a background in jazz, and so
Oh, okay.
part of it is us just improvising in the studio and figuring out where the track lives. And we did that with a lot of the album. The album is
Sure, sure.
primarily us two. I also have some students of mine from my old college, Florida Gateway
Oh,
College. There's a choir on the album on a couple of tracks.
amazing.
And so my students got to participate in that as well, which was a lot of fun.
That's awesome. Listen, I think you're in a very unique situation because, I talk to so many independent artists that they operate by their name, which is the same as you. Like when people listen to this, they might think, "Oh, he's the guy that does everything. He does, he plays the horns," but not a lot of people in your situation have the community to really to do that. You know what I'm saying? And it's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
it's that's the hard part of being an artist is the networking and the knowing people and kind of just like the bonding to be like, hey, I really respect what you do as a craft. And as much as I would love to play the saxophone, I don't know the first thing about it, but that's what this song needs.
Yeah.
And
Totally.
yeah, that's what makes it so special.
Thanks.
um I guess what really comes first for you, like I don't necessarily want to talk about the full album, but in this song in particular, did lyrics come first? Did the jamming turn into improvisation? Like what,
Yeah.
how do you work it
For
out?
me, for me, it's melody.
Okay.
So the main melody of this da 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 da
Hmm.
da, I was just singing that, and that came to me. And typically, my songwriting process is I'll either be on guitar or piano, and I'll figure out where the melody lives, and then I'll
Yeah,
find a chord progression that fits with it, and it really comes from there. And
sure.
for me, that's melody is always the place where I start. And a lot of that comes from improvisation, right? Is
Sure.
just being able to sing around with a progression and find melody. And yeah, I think that's mainly where it comes from.
I love that. And then in terms of, I guess, genre and genre influence, I find that this definitely falls in line with like the classic singer-songwriter feel, but it also has so many different elements to it. You mentioned a little bit of your jazz background, and now that completely comes full circle and makes sense.
Yeah,
How are you describing this song to people when they ask, like, hey, what kind of music do you make?
totally. I mean, singer-songwriter is where we start for sure, absolutely.
Sure.
But I definitely think there's an indie rock feel to it too.
Absolutely.
There's influential artist for me, Glenn Hansard. If you know Glenn Hansard,
Yep, absolutely.
movie once and Swell Season. Damian Rice, and then
Cool.
Coldplay has always been a huge influence in my songwriting as well. I just think Chris
Right.
Martin, excellent songwriter. So I've been saying indie rock, but I also think there's some elements of jazz in there. There's some jam band kind of elements in there
Sure.
too. You know, the track "Keep Dreaming" ends with a 2 minute jam
Absolutely.
session, basically,
Yeah.
which is really fun, you know. So I would say, you know, it fits. It's singer-songwriter that also goes into jam band, jazz, and indie rock.
I love that. And listen, like we're in I think the peak of production right now, where everything is a little bit of everything. People aren't just making rock songs or pop songs. Like you're able to do so much with so little, literally just on a computer nowadays.
It's pretty
And
expensive. Yeah.
yeah, so when I listen to this, not that it's my goal, but I'm always trying to characterize it and be like, what am I listening to? I hear this, I hear that, I feel this, and I feel that. But it really did come together to feel like a little bit of everything. I
Awesome.
also like as a jam band lover myself, the last 2 minutes of it kind of just letting the song breathe and do its own thing. I found that it kind of served as a nice reflection of the first half, where it was like, what did I feel all the while feeling what was still happening? I mean, it
Yeah.
might sound complicated for anyone. Like, obviously, the song is best listened to rather than talked about, but at the
Sure.
same time, it has so many fun elements to it. I couldn't help but love it on the first listen. it
Awesome.
it feels more and more difficult nowadays to feel something immediate, whereas people are it's you want the song to grow over time, but there's nothing wrong with the immediacy of listening. So I love that so
Absolutely.
much.
And
um
one of the elements that this whole album, but this song "Keep Dreaming" especially, is really about is about being reflective. So that's interesting that
sure.
you say that, right? Like I think this time in our lives, this time in the world, reflection, self-reflection is huge for all of us in our lives and however we're growing in the world.
Yeah,
And I try to make music that it feels meditative, right? That's
sure.
why I go to music. That's the thing about a jam band, right? One of my favorite jam bands, Animal Liberation Orchestra. If you're familiar with
I'm
them,
not familiar with them.
go check them out, man. They're awesome.
I
Animal
will.
Liberation Orchestra.
Thank you.
I just saw them last week, and the thing
Cool.
about their shows is sometimes you get down, you have the whole crowd, but the volume gets down to nothing, and it
Hmm.
feels like you're in a spiritual experience,
I love that.
and they're all singing harmonies together, and the crowd is singing with everybody, and everybody's moving, and to me, that meditative, spiritual aspect of music is what I love to do with it, right? And that's why
Sure.
I make it.
I love that. Listen, people hate on jam bands too much, and I don't know
Oh,
why. They
yeah.
think it's just 4 hours of guitar solos, and it's not. And it could be,
Yeah.
but it's not. And yeah, I think this is like obviously not into super jam band territory, but it does a great job of showing the potential for anyone who wants to check it out. I do want to talk about your influences a little bit more in terms of the actual creation of the song.
Sure.
And again, I find that a lot of people, they name their influences and it's like, oh, I love them, but I don't hear that in the music.
Yeah.
For you specifically, do you find that it's ever difficult to be like, I love these people and I would love to make songs that sound like them, but I also want to be myself? How
Yeah.
does that work for you?
I think for me it's like any other art form where if you're ingesting, if you're digesting other
Hmm.
artists' works and you create a bond with them, they will show up in the music in some
Yeah,
capacity. And
absolutely.
I just trust that whatever I have listened to in the past is within me, and then I create. I'm not trying to emulate any other artist, really. I'm just
Sure.
trying to create what feels organic for me. But if I look at all my chord progressions, for example, I
Sure.
know the three artists I mentioned, Glenn Hansard, Damien Rice,
Yeah,
Coldplay, they're all going to live in that general area.
I
And
get
there have been
it.
times years later where I go back and listen to a recording of mine that I have, and I go, I think that's this song by this artist. It
Listen,
takes me 9 years, but I realize, oh wait, that's that song.
that right there is a 3 hour long conversation about all the lawsuits of you copied my chord progression. But realistically and mathematically, there are only so many existing chord progressions that
Right,
sound good or whatever. Like it's music, it's gonna happen. Everyone is copying each other
right.
to a fault. So never feel bad about it, but I do understand going back and hearing something in
Yeah,
the future
yeah.
that's
There was
really
a
funny.
Wilco song that I made a song in 2013 with a band I was in called Corduroy, and I'm in
Sure,
this band, and I was listening to a Wilco album, I don't know, a year ago, and I
sure.
go, oh my God,
Oh shit. I think
that's that song, and I'm like, oh wow,
love
and I
that.
probably was
That's really
listening to that
funny.
album by
You
Wilco a
you
lot,
probably will.
you know,
Again, one of the most influential bands that
incredible band.
people, oh, it's dad rock. Like, shut
Yeah.
up. It's
And
not.
honestly, a big influence on this song, on this
Yeah,
album. Well, you know.
absolutely. Have you had the opportunity to play live yet? Any of these songs?
Yeah. I have, yeah. We've done a couple of concerts. My wife and I actually performed together.
No
Uh,
way. That's
she
amazing.
Erica Barrington's her name, and
Cool.
her vocals are on this track, "Keep Dreamin'."
Sweet.
And so my wife and I have been able to perform together a few times here in Monterey. And I've actually got a whole East Coast tour booked for the release of this album that's
Amazing.
happening in July. So late July, I'll be hitting New York and Boston,
Awesome.
Nashville, Florida, a couple of places out there. So yeah,
Incredible.
looking forward to it.
What does a live show of yours look like?
Well, that's the fun part for me is because I love collaboration so much,
Hmm.
I end up finding musicians pretty much everywhere I go, and each
Really?
show ends up being a little bit of a different experience because it's different musicians.
Wow.
I've got one musician that's going to be consistent with me on this tour upcoming, for
Sure.
example. But in New York, I know a drummer and a bass player that are going to come and play with us. And
It's
in
awesome.
Boston, I
How
know
do
a
you
couple of
that,
people.
that feels like not an unnecessary stress, but like,
Yeah.
oh shit, we got a show tomorrow. We need a band to fill out.
I send the I've created sheets for lead sheets for all of
Yeah,
the
yeah,
songs,
yeah.
right? I send the sheets out to everybody, and in one rehearsal, I feel like we usually pick it up pretty well. And these guys are all pro musicians too, doing their
Yeah,
thing. And, but most of them are friends of mine that I've played music with at some point since college, 18
yeah,
years. And so for me, it's about having fun with those people on stage and then inviting the crowd into that joy with us.
of course.
To me, that's the whole thing.
That's awesome. Is there a song on your set list that you feel really like unites the crowd the most, or maybe gets them the most into the show?
Yeah, there's a song called "Begin Today," and that's also on this upcoming record, "Keep
Cool.
Dreaming," and it ends with everybody singing together in harmony,
Yes.
and that's
Love
how it
that.
ends on the record. It's the last song on the record,
Cool.
and I usually end the set with it,
Sure.
and just end the set with the crowd singing. I'm not even singing, right?
Yeah,
And
you're like, I
the
did my
crowd,
job. I'm good to go here.
yeah, and to
That's so
me,
funny.
you know, if I can create in a concert an experience, I think that's what we're all aiming to do as musicians. We're trying to create an experience for the audience. And I think
Absolutely.
especially today, that's what audiences are looking for
Yeah.
because as we all know, with devices in our hands,
Yeah,
you can listen to the music at any time, any place, but we're really looking for and buying a ticket to the experience.
exactly. I mean, that's what concerts are all about, man. It's about disconnecting, or I mean, disconnecting from the world, but also connecting with these random strangers that you're like, oh, I also like this band. Who are you? I always urge people, listen, I go to concerts 95% of the time by myself.
Yeah.
And people go with groups or whatever. Maybe I go to the more than the average person, but it's so nice to just strike up a random conversation with someone because you automatically know that you have something in common. Oh, have you seen them before? Oh, what song are you looking forward to the most?
Yeah.
And in your specific situation of being the performer, it's like it's your job not only to entertain, but to bring them something unique. And I find that so many people just get up on stage, they play the songs, there's no banter, there's no connection, it's just like kind of rolling
Yeah.
with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and especially for you as an independent artist, and you got to create buzz and get people talking about you, give them something that they're going to remember.
Exactly. And I think if the audience is participating, that's memorable, right?
Exactly,
And that's,
exactly.
when I go to shows, just like you were saying, and we talk about jam bands, like that's what
Yeah,
a jam band does, is it makes you
yeah.
feel this is a special occasion where it's going to be played this way and no
Yep.
other time will it be played this way. And oh,
Right.
remember when, Trey did this and
Exactly, exactly.
like I had the lucky opportunity to go see Dead and Co at the Sphere. I don't know if you've done that.
Hate you, man. Yeah, it's on my list,
It
but it'll
it
happen.
but that experience
Yeah,
was, I would highly recommend any band you can go see at the Sphere. I think it's
sure.
going to be the premier venue for a long time because
Absolutely.
it's so unbelievably special.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing is like any I want to say normal band. I don't think that's a word, but a normal band. I don't understand how people are like, yeah, I'm going to see them like all throughout their California run, and it's literally just the same set list.
Yeah,
And there's nothing wrong with that, but damn, like it gets boring. But
sure.
the reward of jam bands is going to see them and knowing that you get there and it's never going to be the same thing. You might
Totally.
get the same songs, but they're not going to sound the same. And that's the magic of it all. It's another
100%.
reason to hop on that bandwagon, man.
Yeah, and I
Love
think
that so
I think
much.
we're kind of in an era of overproduced, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
We're in this era of production, where we've all seen it, right? Like you go in and the artist is doing exactly like the track in every
Yeah.
single way, and sometimes to the track, right? Like a lot of performance
Exactly.
to the track, and there's something organic about playing musicians playing live with an understanding of the audience wanting something different, and that's the magic that we're aiming for.
Right. But then it's tough because you get the nonchalant concert goers or the people that are like, yeah, I go to one a year, and they're like, I want to hear the song exactly how it sounds. I don't want,
Sure.
and like
Yeah.
you can't please everyone.
Yeah.
But at the same time, for a performer, if you're doing the same thing night after night after night, you have to do something to kind of benefit your experience because then it feels like maybe you're phoning it in because you're like, okay, same thing,
Yeah.
different city.
I played in a for the last 3 years prior to my move to California when I was in
Sure.
Florida. I played in an Aerosmith tribute band.
Okay, I've never didn't even know that existed. Go on,
It's
please.
incredibly popular. The rock tribute bands are incredibly popular. We also
Cool.
played the music of the Cars, and so we opened as the Cars,
Awesome.
and then we played as Aerosmith, and that's exactly what those audiences are aiming for, is
Yeah,
just to get what the record sounds like, and we
sure.
produce our sound to make it sound that way, right? Now, of
Yeah.
course, these are gigs at casinos and
Yeah,
places that attract a certain audience. But
exactly.
at the same time, with the Aerosmith band, they had a lot of jamming in their career, right?
Oh,
And
absolutely.
and in
People know
their
the
music.
hits, but they don't know the deep cuts.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
so we gave ourselves a lot of room in there to improvise.
Sweet.
And the guitarist was incredible, and I played keys in that. And it's just that room to improvise is really key. And that goes back to the message of the song,
Yeah.
which is let's keep this dream alive. And sometimes the dream is flowy. And
Yeah, it's not linear, that's for sure.
when you watch the music video, which we filmed in Big Sur here
Awesome.
in California, that's what we're trying to emulate in the music video as well. Is
Yeah,
nature imagery and kind of it's flowing in and out and waves flowing in and out. This idea that we can get out of the linear and we can go into the flow state.
I love that so much. Um, Todd, I have one more question for you, and it's basically like for the person that is going to discover you from this interview or anywhere really, what is an opening message or something you'd like to say to them before they listen to the song for the first time?
That's a great question. I'd say if you're joining us on this musical journey and you're going to listen to this new record and this song "Keep Dreaming," bring an open mind and bring an idea of I'm going to find calm and meditative state and aim for a Zen experience while listening. And if you're coming from a place where you're not feeling that, I hope that this can bring that to you as a listener. Just a moment, a few moments, a few minutes of, hey, things are going to be okay. We're going to get
I
through this.
love that. That's a great answer. Todd, I truly like this was a great conversation, and I want to thank you so much for taking the time. Before we wrap up here, though, please allow me the opportunity to plug everything for you. So,
Sure.
for everyone out there who didn't know, I'm speaking with Todd Siff. The song is called Keep Dreaming. By the time this is out, the song will be out, and we'll have the links everywhere so you can listen and share and follow along and stay tuned for more. Sounds like there's an album on the way. There's a video, there's everything. It's never been a better time to follow along than now. And truly, man, thank you so much for taking the time. This was awesome.
Thanks, Austin. Appreciate you, man.
You're very welcome. All right. Take care. Try to stay cool as the weather warms up,
Yeah.
and I hope to speak soon.
Same here, man.
Awesome. Take care, man. I'll see you later. Bye bye.